Amen.
Amen.
Good afternoon.
Príjemné pobedie.
We've been working on the line of Christ.
Robili sme líniu Krista.
So we've had quite a few, I don't want to call them distractions,
Mali sme niekoľko takých
but
vyrušení.
we've put a few things in place
Niekoľko vecí sme
that become
ukázali,
important as we review this history.
ale myslím, že je dôležité, aby sme to zopakovali.
But I want us to lock in today these 5 key waymarks.
A chcela by som sa dnes pozrieť na tých 5 kľúčových milníkov.
So these 2 lines I've drawn up here
Tieto dve linie, ktoré som tu nakreslila,
if we were to just remind ourselves
pripomenieme si
about the lines in our history,
o liniách v našich dejinách
end of modern
a
Israel.
moderného Izraela.
If we were to construct the end of modern
Ak
Israel,
by sme mali ukázať koniec moderného Izraela,
it would look the following.
vyzeral by takto.
You would have 1989,
Máme 89.,
2001,
2001,
2004, Sunday law,
nedeľný zákon,
close of probation,
záver milosti
second
a
advent.
druhý príchod.
That's the line of the
To
144,000.
je línia 144 000.
So when we are constructing the lines of the end of ancient Israel,
Takže keď konštruujeme líniu starovekého Izraela,
we're constructing for the end of ancient Israel this large reform line.
pre líniu Izraela robíme túto
And
väčšiu
then-
líniu.
What we do with the line of the 144,000
To, čo urobíme s líniou 144 000,
is that we see that there are these other groups.
je, že vidíme, že sú tu ešte aj iné skupiny.
This is 144,000
Toto je 144 000.
plowing, early rain, latter rain,
Tam máme
harvest.
orbu, ranný dážď, neskorý dážď a žatvu.
And what we now
A
understand
to, čo mu rozumieme,
is that you have fractals.
že máme fraktály.
What we mean by that
Čo tým myslíme?
are these smaller
Sú
patterns.
tie také menšie vzorce.
So you have
Takže
1989
máme 89.
to when?
až pokiaľ
Panium.
po pánium.
Because in here
Tu na
is 2019
je 2019
and
a
2021.
2021.
So you have this other group,
Takže máme túto druhú
the
skupinu
priests.
kňazov.
So we can see there are 4 key waymarks.
Takže vidíme, že sú tu 4 kľúčové milníky.
This is the line of the priests.
To je línia
It
kňazov,
fits into this 144,000 model.
ktorá vlastne je v tom modeli 144 000.
So we have the priests,
Máme kňazov,
plowing, early rain, latter rain, harvest.
tam je orba, ranný dážď, neskorý dážď, žatva.
Then we have the Levites,
Potom máme levitov,
2001,
2001,
time of the end,
to je ich čas konca,
through to the Sunday law.
ponedelný
And they
zákon.
have-
A oni majú
The same model.
ten istý model.
Plowing, early rain, latter rain, harvest.
Orba, ranný dážď, neskorý dážď, žatva.
That's the Levites.
To sú leviti.
And then the
Potom
Nethinims
netinejci
from 2014
od 2014
through to the close of probation.
až po záver milosti.
So is everyone okay with that?
S týmto, tomuto rozumieme?
That this is our model?
Tomuto modelu?
4 groups.
Máme 4 skupiny.
144,000.
144 000.
Priests, Levites, Nethinims.
Kňazi, leviti, netinejci.
We all okay with that?
S tým súhlasíme.
So what we end up having
Takže to, čo nakoniec máme,
is this harvest on the line of the 144,000
je táto žatva na línii 144 000.
is harvest number 4.
A to je štvrtá
Because
žatva.
we have harvest
Lebo tu máme žatvu.
1,
1,
harvest 2,
2,
harvest 3,
3
harvest 4.
až štvrtá žatva.
Does that make sense?
Dáva to zmysel?
You have 4 groups,
Sú 4 skupiny,
4 layouts of this agricultural model.
4 takto rozložené tie poľnohospodárske
And
modely.
if we were to erase everything else,
A keby sme všetko ostatné zmazali,
we could just see
tak by sme videli,
that we have 4 successive harvests.
že máme 4 za sebou idúce žatvy.
If we were to bring that up to our top line,
Keď by sme to donesli na tú vrchnú líniu,
harvest 1,
tak to bude prvá žatva,
harvest 2,
druhá žatva,
harvest 3,
tretia žatva,
harvest 4.
štvrtá žatva.
Does that make sense?
Dáva to zmysel?
So we've entered into harvest.
Už sme vošli do
And
žatvy.
the different groups,
Tie rôzne skupiny,
this time of trouble, this harvest,
tento čas súženia, tá žatva,
is going to take us all the way from 2019
bude trvať od 2019.
to the second advent,
až po druhý príchod.
because we are now here.
Lebo my sme teraz tu.
We've entered into this time period.
Vošli sme do tohto času.
So we have these 4 groups.
Máme tieto 4 skupiny.
And I don't want to keep calling them priests, Levites,
Nechcem to
Nethinims.
stále nazývať kňazi, leviti, netinejci.
I just want to call them 1,
Nazvem ich ako 1,
2, 3,
2,
and
3,
4.
4.
Does that make
Dáva
sense?
zmysel?
1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's a
1,
first
2,
harvest,
3.
second harvest, third harvest, fourth harvest.
A to je prvá, druhá, tretia a štvrtá žatva.
Is that all okay?
Áno, môže byť.
That's just taking an element from these reform lines, focusing on an element.
To je vlastne, sa zameriavame na tú zložku tej reformnej línie.
So what we are
To,
doing
čo robíme,
is we're taking this model
je, že berieme tento model
with these 4
s
harvests,
týmito 3 žatvami,
these 4 groups,
tieto 4
and
skupiny
taking that to the end of ancient
a
Israel.
vezmeme to k záveru starovekého
This is the end of
Izraela.
modern Israel.
Toto je koniec moderného Izraela.
We want to apply this exact structure to the end of
A
ancient
my chceme
Israel.
túto štruktúru aplikovať na staroveký Izrael.
And when you do that,
Keď to spravíme,
you start seeing a different picture.
začneme vidieť iný obraz.
Because what we have tended to construct in the past
Lebo to, čo sme mali tendenciu konštruovať v minulosti,
were fractals.
to boli fraktály.
So we would say
Takže my by sme povedali,
the cross
že kríž
is at the close of probation.
je záver milosti.
And we meant here.
My sme to mysleli tu.
But there's a problem.
Ale je tu problém.
What's the problem with that, Sister
Aký
Kathy?
je s tým problém?
Because it goes into a harvest afterwards.
Potom sa ide do žatvy.
So it goes into a harvest afterwards.
And you can't have a close of probation at that location. I mean,
Záver
that
milosti
way,
nemôže
not at that
byť.
location.
This isn't a close of probation.
Yeah.
Toto,
Yeah, but I didn't think the cross was on the line of the 144,000.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
ja som nevedela,
I want to
že,
know why this doesn't make sense to you.
že kríž, ja si nemyslím, že kríž je na tej línii.
You've already said that it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Ty hovoríš, že to nedáva zmysel?
I want people to see
A
why.
ja chcem, aby ľudia vedeli prečo.
Okay. Sister Catherine.
Katrin?
The message to the Gentiles doesn't go out after the cross, or after the cross.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Then you don't go to the Gentiles right after the cross.
You don't go to the Gentiles right
Nejdeme k
after the
pohanom
cross.
hneď po kríži.
There's going to be a break,
Ešte je tam určitá pauza
and then
medzi
they go to
tým,
the
až potom
Gentiles.
idú k pohanom.
So you're not going to the Gentiles here
A tu
either.
nejdeme k pohanom.
So you don't go to the Gentiles and you don't go to the Gentiles.
Ani tu, ani tu.
So what's the problem with placing it here?
Takže prečo potom je problém, keď sem dáme kríž?
To go to the Gentiles after the cross.
So after the cross, you're going to go to the Gentiles.
Nejaký čas po
Not
kríži
right
sa
away,
ide
though.
k pohanom.
Not immediately, but afterwards.
Nie hneď,
Is that
ale potom.
Sister Kathy? After the cross,
Po kríži,
they're going to go to the Gentiles.
potom po nejakom čase pôjdu k pohanom
In that whole
v tých
history,
dejinách.
you know the whole purpose is for them to take the gospel to the Gentiles,
Vieme, že zámer evanjelia je vziať ho k pohanom.
and they do that after the cross.
A robia to po kríži.
So after Daniel 12:1,
Po Danielovi 12.1
there's nobody to go to.
tam už nemáme ku komu ísť.
So the cross,
Kríž
it has to be back
musí
here.
byť tu.
And Sister Catherine said
A Katrin povedala,
they don't go to the Gentiles straight after the
že
cross.
nejdú k pohanom hneď po kríži,
So the cross can't be here.
takže nemôže byť ani tu.
She said they go to the church first. I think you
Najprv
said
idú k
that.
cirkvi,
But they don't even go to the church straight away.
ale nejdú ani hneď k cirkvi,
So the cross can't be
takže
here.
nemôže byť kríž ani tu.
So where is the cross?
Tak kde
Sister
potom bude
Kath?
ten kríž?
2019.
V
Here.
2019.
So can you put the cross at a close of probation?
Takže môžeme dať kríž na záver milosti.
Yes, on a fractal.
Áno, na tom leveli fraktálu.
So it's a close of probation,
Takže keď je na záver,
For one group.
je to záver milosti pre určitú
but it's not
skupinu,
Daniel 12:1.
ale není to, keď povstane Michael, Daniel 12.1.
Does everyone, Brother Roland, does that make sense?
Roland, dáva to zmysel?
Yes.
It makes sense. Does that make sense, Brother Jim?
Dáva to zmysel, brat Jim?
Not really. I mean, it kind of does.
Trochu.
So in past history,
V minulých dejinách
we used to put the cross at the close of
sme
probation
dávali
sometimes.
kríž na záver milosti.
But when you do this whole history of
Ale keď
Christ,
spravíme celé dejiny Krista,
not to try and make these waymarks,
nechcem teraz
But
z
you
toho
have
robiť
the cross.
milníky, ale máme kríž,
and then you have this break,
potom je tam určitá pauza,
and then they take the
potom
gospel
vezmu evanjelium
to the Jews,
k Židom
and then they take the
a
gospel
potom vezmu evanjelium
to the Gentiles.
k pohanom.
So if we were to bring this history up here,
Čiže ak tieto dejiny prenesieme sem,
we'd be saying that after Daniel 12:1,
tak by sme povedali, že po
then
Danielovi
we must have a
12.1,
break,
potom by musela byť určitá pauza
and then after Daniel 12:1, we take the message to Adventism and the world.
a po Danielovi 12.1 vezmeme evanjelium do cirkvi a potom k pohanom.
So the cross can't be Daniel 12:1
Takže to nemôže byť Daniel 12.1.
because first of all,
Za prvé,
the gospel to the Gentiles,
evanjelium k pohanom.
are you comfortable with seeing that as the Sunday law?
Súhlasíte, že to sa deje od nedelného zákona?
First the church
Najprv cirkev,
and then the
potom
world.
svet.
So this taking the gospel to the
Takže
Gentiles
toto, že sa vezme evanjelium k pohanom,
is here.
je tu.
And then you have the gospel back to the Jews,
A potom máme evanjelium vzaté k Židom, znovu, naspäť.
which we mark as
To je
Panium.
Panium.
And then you have this break.
A máme tu prestávku,
They don't take the gospel back to the Jews
kedy ešte
immediately.
nejdú hneď k Židom.
This is the break.
A toto je tá pauza.
So the cross,
Takže kríž
in its primary
v jeho
application,
prvotnej aplikácii
cannot be put anywhere forward of
nemôže byť
2019.
daný nikde ďalej za 2019.
After. Is that okay?
Môže byť,
Sister
súhlasíme?
Suellen?
Suelen?
Does that make
Dáva
sense?
zmysel?
Yes.
Mhm.
Does that say
Áno.
break?
Break, yes. It's a terrible K. So the cross,
Takže kríž.
then you have. We're going to discuss the time period after the cross
O tomto čase, čo sa deje po kríži, budeme
because,
hovoriť.
as you might imagine, that's where we
Lebo
are.
to je presne, kde sa nachádzame.
Becomes very important to know where we are in that
A je veľmi
history.
dôležité vedieť, kde sa v týchto dejinách nachádzame.
Then the gospel back to the Jews,
Potom berieme evanjelium k Židom
and then to the Gentiles or the world.
a potom k pohanom alebo k svetu.
So the cross,
Takže kríž
it can't be placed at this close of probation, Daniel
nemôže byť
12:1.
umiestnený na tento záver milosti. Daniel 12.1.
Sister Kathy.
Kety?
144,000.
144 tisíc.
Are the dates 2019 and 2021 on the fractals are different waymarks than what they would be up there on the big line.
2019 a 2021 by na tej
So-
veľkej linii nemali byť.
So up there, on the 144,000, is that increase of knowledge and formalization on the big
Na
line,
tej
and
veľkej
then on the
linii
fractal we have our other.
144 000 je to vlastne rast poznania a
Yes,
formovanie. Aha. Okay. To je rast poznania a formovanie.
And what line allows you to do that?
Ktorá línia ti toto ukazuje?
Increase of knowledge formalization test.
Rast poznania, formovanie a skúška.
So we don't have many of them that allow us to do that.
Veľa z nich nám to neukazuje.
No. Oh, the wars? No. Repeating pattern?
What were the wars built upon?
Na čom boli vystavané vojny?
Acts 27.
Acts 27.
Skutky 27.
Eventually, I would get there.
It's good we have many. Yeah. Where you're going. So Acts 27,
Skutky 27.
when we do this second line of Alexandria,
Keď robíme túto druhú líniu Alexandrie,
it's going to show 911
ktorá nám ukáže 9.11
is Euroclidon.
ako Euroklidon,
It's the east wind.
východný vietor.
And then there's history there.
Tam sú dejiny,
It takes us from 911 to Sunday
ktoré
law.
nás berú od 9.11 po nedeľný zákon,
From the storm of Euroclidon to shipwreck.
od tej búrky až po stroskotanie.
And what are the two waymarks in here?
Čo sú tie dva milníky tu?
Because it's Acts 27 that gives us this.
Sú to skutky 27,
So
ktoré nám
much of what
dávajú
we now
toto.
understand, if you go back to Acts 27, it's embedded there.
To všetko, čo rozumieme teraz, je ukotvené v skutkoch 27.
Back in Acts 27,
V skutkoch 27,
what happens
čo
here?
sa tam stane?
Paul's message.
Paul's message.
Tam Pavel dáva
What
posolstvo.
part of it?
To not leave the ship.
So what verse are you going to?
Ktorý verš máš na mysli?
What's the verse for this way, Mark?
V ktorom verši je toto?
$21.
21?
21?
He predicts this storm or shipwreck.
He predicts the shipwreck.
On predpovedá, že tá loď stroskotá.
How does he know?
Ako to vie?
The south.
The south wind's back here.
Južný vietor je
He
tu.
was told.
He was told. Who told him?
Kto mu to povedal, že tá loď stroskotá?
And
An angel.
Aniel.
So that Sister Kathy's right. That begins at verse
Áno,
21.
začína to v 21. verši.
And you find that explanation in verse 23.
A to vysvetlenie v 23.
He says, this night
A on hovorí, túto noc
an angel visited
ma
me
navštívil aniel
and gave me this
a
message.
dal mi toto posolstvo.
The message,
Posolstvo,
the increase of
rast
knowledge,
poznania,
is that you will be
je
shipwrecked.
to, že stroskotá loď.
So the message
Takže to posolstvo
says you will be shipwrecked.
hovorí, že bude
So
že
there's
tá
an
loď
increase of
stroskotá.
knowledge
Takže je tu rast poznania
about this waymark of
o
shipwreck.
tomto milníku stroskotania.
And what's the date for this?
To je aký datum?
In application,
V
in our time.
aplikácii.
2019?
This is
To
2019.
je 2019.
So you would expect
Takže by sme
that
očakávali,
in 2019
že v 2019
we would refine our understanding of what the shipwreck was,
porozumieme tomu, čo je to stroskotanie.
which is all about the fall of republicanism,
Je to o páde republikanizmu,
the seventh kingdom,
7. kráľovstva,
nationalism. All of that is an
nacionalizmus.
understanding of what this shipwreck looks like.
To je celé naše porozumenie toho, ako vyzerá to stroskotanie.
So we've experienced this. We've
Toto
experienced
sme
this.
prežili.
But over here,
Ale tu,
what happens here?
čo sa stane tu?
So Paul is given the message,
Pavol dáva posolstvo,
the increase of knowledge,
rast poznania,
but what is he lacking?
ale čo mu chýba?
When?
Chýba mu
When is that
informácia, že
given?
kedy.
When they see land.
A to zistí, keď uvidia zem.
Sister Tamina, when was that?
Kedy to bolo?
14th day of the first, was it the first month?
14th.
To bola 14.
Daj.
noc.
Fourteenth night. 27.
Skutky 27:27.
What happened on the 14th night?
Čo sa stalo v tú 14. noc?
Different history.
Iné dejiny?
Sister Aileen.
Elín?
The message of Exeter.
The message of Exeter.
To
So
je to
Samuel
posolstvo
Snow
z
arrives
Exeteru.
On
Samuel
the
Snow
14th night to
14.
Exeter.
noc do Exetery, teda prišiel do Exeteru 14. noc.
This is increase of knowledge,
Toto
formalization.
je rast poznania a formovanie.
Could also call it Boston, Concord, Exeter.
Môžeme to nazvať
test.
Boston, Concord, Exeter.
So this is Exeter.
Toto je Exeter,
It's the 14th night.
14. noc.
It's a doubling.
To je zdvojenie.
It's the formalization of a
Je to
message.
formovanie posolstva.
It's the giving of time,
Je to danie času
and there's a cry made
a je
at
volanie
midnight.
o polnoci.
So this is loaded with symbols.
Tu je mnoho symbolov.
It's midnight,
Polnoc,
there's a cry,
tam je volanie,
they're given the time,
je im daný čas
the message is formalized that they were already given.
a posolstvo je sformované.
It's the 14th night,
Je to
which
14.
is
noc,
Exeter,
Exeter,
the arrival of Samuel Snow,
príchod Samuela znova
and it's a doubling,
a je to zdvojenie.
which we usually place at this waymark of Panium.
To väčšinou patrí na milník Pania.
So it's Acts 27
Takže v skutkoch 27
that gives us these 4 waymarks from 9/11
máme,
to the Sunday
máme
law.
tieto 4 milníky od 9.11 po nedeľný zákon.
We're all okay with that.
Áno?
That was just another evidence for these 2 waymarks, increase of knowledge and
To
formalization.
bol len ďalší dôkaz pre tieto milníky o raste poznania a formovaní.
We've had an increase of knowledge about the nature of this waymark,
Mali sme rast poznania o podstate tohto milníku.
but lots of people still have questions about the Sunday law,
Mnoho ľudí má stále otázky o nedeľnom zákone.
and I'm not troubled by that
To mi nevadí,
because we are here.
lebo sme len tu.
We are still in this history. We are not at the
Ešte nie
formalization
sme
yet.
na formovaní, stále sme len v tých počiatočných dejinách.
So we know that the current knowledge we have
Takže vieme, že to poznanie, ktoré teraz máme,
is just what we're supposed to have at this time period.
je presne to, čo máme mať v tomto čase.
Any other thoughts or
Ešte
questions on
nejaké
that?
myšlienky?
So are we all comfortable that this is the cross?
Takže súhlasíme, že toto je kríž. Ste s tým
They haven't gone
súhlasiť?
back to the Jewish nation, and they certainly haven't gone to the Gentiles.
Ešte nešli ani k Židom a určite nešli ani k pohanom.
So in its primary application, it's 2019.
Primárna aplikácia je 2019.
It's the increase of knowledge. Is that okay?
Môže byť?
So what about October 22?
A čo 22. október?
We used to place October 22 here.
Zvykli sme ho dávať sem.
What's the problem with placing October 22, 1844 at the close of
Aký je tu
probation?
problém umiestniť to na záver milosti?
We know it's a shut door.
Vieme, že sú to zavreté dvere.
Because it's a shut door, we place it at Daniel
A
12:1.
preto sme to dali na Daniela 12.1.
What's the problem,
Aký je tu problém,
Brother Roland?
Roland?
Weiß ich nicht.
Neviem.
So October 22,
22. október
they're scattered.
sú rozptýlení.
For how long are they scattered?
Na ako dlho?
They have here the 1843 chart.
Tu majú tú tabuľku 1843.
They go through this difficult time period,
Idú cez tento ťažký čas,
just like the disciples after the cross.
tak ako aj učeníci po kríži.
And then in 1850,
A potom v 1850. čo spravia?
Die zweite Karte entwickeln für die Missionsarbeit.
Urobia tú druhú
Why are they
tabuľku
doing
pre
missionary
misijné
work?
dielo. A prečo robia misijné dielo?
if this is the close of
Ak
probation,
toto bol záver milosti.
what's the point?
Für
Jaký
die
to má význam?
Gemeinde die Ende der Gnadenzeit. Für die Gemeinde Ende der Gnadenzeit.
Pre cirkev bola zavretá milosť?
For the church?
Pre cirkev?
Für die Milleriten.
Pre mileritov.
So it's a close of probation,
Takže je to záver milosti,
just like the cross.
tak ako aj kríž.
But it's a close of probation for a specific
Pre
group.
určitú skupinu.
It wasn't, even if Christ had have come back in that time
Aj keby sa
period,
v tom čase Kristus vrátil,
October 22 was not Daniel 12:1.
22. október nebol Daniel 12.1.
So October 22
22. október
must be a shut door for a fractal.
musia byť zavreté dvere ako fraktál, na
Because in
fraktáli.
1850,
Pretože v
They go to the world.
1850 idú k svetu.
so October 22 has to be back here.
Takže 22. október musí byť tu.
And I'm saying it's here.
Ja hovorím,
And
že
here-
patrí sem. A toto?
34 AD
Uh,
and 1850.
je
There that the
34. rok
gospel
a
goes to the world.
1850.
Does that make
Dáva
sense?
zmysel?
So when we think of these histories,
Keď rozmýšľame o týchto dejinách,
if you were to say,
keď by ste mali povedať,
go to the New Testament
choďte do Nového zákona
and tell me
a povedzte mi,
what is the most important, significant waymark.
čo je najdôležitejší milník,
What does every good Christian say?
čo všetci kresťania povedia.
It's the cross.
Je to kríž.
Everything centers around the cross.
Všetko je obklopené okolo kríža.
Everything else in that history would pale in comparison compared to the cross.
Všetko v tých dejinách by úplne zlyhalo v
So the
porovnaní s
cross
krížom. Kríž
is the most important
je
waymark.
najdôležitejší milník.
If you were to go to Millerite history
Ak pôjdeme do dejín Milleritov
and say name the most important, significant waymark,
a spýtame sa, aký bol najdôležitejší milník v týchto dejinách,
what would you name?
čo by sme povedali?
October 22, 1844.
22. október 1844.
Sister Catherine.
Katrin?
October 22
22. október
and the cross,
a kríž
2019.
a
If you take them back to
2019.
their original histories,
Keď ich vezmeš do tých pôvodných dejín,
we should be focusing on the big line,
mali by sme sa zameriavať na tú veľkú líniu,
where this is 34 AD,
kde toto je rok 34,
this is 1850,
toto je rok 1850
and the cross in October 22
a kríž, alebo 22. október,
are this little waymark
na tomto malom milníku
of concord.
je Concord.
So what's your justification
Aké je tvoje ospravedlnenie, alebo
to place so much emphasis on them?
prečo dávaš taký dôraz na nich?
That's what they were looking forward to. The Millerites were looking forward to.
To je to, na čo Milleriti čakali, na čo sa tešili.
So the Millerites are looking forward to October 22nd,
Takže oni sa tešia na 22. október.
but that's because they have all these mistakes,
A to kvôli tomu, že mali tieto
or a
chyby.
mistake.
Alebo mali tú chybu.
Geography.
Geografiu.
So they have a mistake,
Oni majú chybu
but even after that,
a dokonca potom,
if you go to Ellen White's writings,
aj v písme Ellen Whiteovej,
this is the event she cares about.
toto je tá udalosť, na ktorú ona ukazuje. Alebo ktorá ju zaujíma.
Go to Acts,
Choď do skutkov,
the writings of Paul,
čo píše Pavol.
all he cares about is the cross.
A jediné, čo ho zaujíma, je kríž.
The cross is not one of these major 5 waymarks.
Ale pritom to není jeden z týchto veľkých
why is-
milníkov.
The cross
Takže
so significant.
prečo je kríž taký významný?
It's concord.
Je to Concord.
It's an increase of
Je to rast
knowledge
poznania
in one
v
dispensation.
jednom období.
An increase of knowledge of 34.
Je to rast poznania na 34.
Things that point towards it, as well as October 22nd.
So you have all the prophecies that point towards it.
Takže má všetky proroctvá, ktoré na to ukazujú.
Name one of them.
Skús nejaké povedať.
Anyone.
300 days.
The 2300 days.
2300 večerov a rán.
The 2300 days.
2300 večerov
They
a
and the
rán.
490 here.
Sú v tých 490 rokoch tu.
So you have the midst of the week,
Čiže to je stred týždňa
but the end focus is here.
a ten záver je tu.
So even that prophecy will take you here.
Dokonca aj to proroctvo ťa berie sem.
So I just want us to think about
Len
that
chcem, aby sme o tom rozmýšľali.
because we're going to look at that later,
Na to sa budeme pozerať aj neskôr.
just briefly.
Len tak v skratke.
So just to come back to our original point,
Aby som sa vrátil k tej našej pôvodnej pointe.
we're looking at the big line,
Pozeráme sa na veľkú líniu.
the end of ancient Israel.
Záver starovekého
When we
Izraela.
do that,
Keď to robíme,
when we construct lines around the cross,
keď konštruujeme linie okolo kríža,
making it this major event
robiac z toho tú hlavnú udalosť,
or a time of test,
alebo čas skúšky,
it must be for a fractal,
to musí byť vo fraktáli.
not for the line of the 144,000.
Nie na linii 144 000.
So we have 4 harvests.
Máme 4
Four
žatvy,
groups.
4 skupiny.
So I just wanted us to remember
Chcela som, aby sme pamätali,
what we're actually constructing.
čo vlastne
And to
konštruujeme.
make the point,
Aby sme urobili tú pointu.
when we've applied waymarks before, we've called it the line of Christ. When we've constructed what we call the line of Christ,
To čo voláme líniou Krista,
we're usually constructing a fractal.
väčšinou robíme ten fraktál.
And I suggested that calling it the line of Christ contributed to that mistake,
A to, že sme to nazvali líniou Krista, nás priviedlo k tej chybe.
because that makes us want to put just Christ's life on this line.
Lebo my chceme dať na túto líniu potom Kristov život.
And the end of ancient Israel is a larger story
A koniec starovekého Izraela je väčší príbeh. Širší.
than just the days of Christ on earth.
Ako len tie dni Krista
Then he left
na
them with
zemi.
the Holy Spirit,
On im dal Ducha Svätého
and they took the gospel to the
a oni
Gentiles.
brali evanjelium k pohanom.
So these 5 major waymarks.
Takže máme týchto 5 hlavných milníkov.
The time of the end is what waymark?
Čas konca je ktorý milník?
Brother Carl? These 5 major waymarks,
5 hlavných milníkov
end of ancient Israel.
na konci starovekého Izraela.
This one.
4 BC.
And what happened?
4. rok pred Kristom. Čo sa stalo vtedy?
The birth of Christ.
Narodenie
The birth of
Krista.
Christ. What happens at this waymark?
Čo sa deje na tomto milníku?
Birth of John the Baptist.
Birth of John. Why the birth of John?
Narodenie Jana Krstiteľa.
Because he was the first messenger.
On bol ten
Because he's the
prvý
first messenger.
posol,
He's the first angel.
prvý aniel.
So the time of the end
Čas konca
is the arrival of the first angel.
je príchod prvého aniela.
So the birth must be John.
Takže to narodený musí byť Jan Krstiteľ.
So your concept's correct.
Tvoj koncept je
I
správny.
just want to make the point
Len chcem spraviť pointu,
because Christ is so significant to us.
pretože Kristus je pre nás tak
We
významný.
center everything around him.
Všetko je okolo neho
And I gave an example.
obklopené. A dala som príklad
We talk about Moses
toho, že keď hovoríme o
And
Mojžišovi
Joshua.
a Jozuovi,
and we call this the line of Moses.
to je línia Mojžiša.
We have John
Máme
and we
Jana
have Christ.
Krista.
and we call it the line of
A to
Christ.
nazývame líniu Krista.
We come to the Millerites,
Prídeme k Milleritom,
leaving them aside for one moment.
na chvíľočku ich nechám
We come
na
to our
boku.
line.
Prídeme k našej línii.
We have Elder Jeff.
Máme brata Jeffa.
So if we're going to do this,
Ak to takto spravíme,
then we need to call what is the line of 144,000.
tak musíme nazvať to, čo je líniou
It's
144 000,
1989.
ako
9/11,
1989,
Sunday law, close of
9.11,
probation,
nedeľný
second
zákon,
advent.
záver milosti a druhý príchod.
We need to call that the line of Elder
To by
Jeff.
sme mali nazvať líniou brata Jeffa.
And Elder Jeff,
A brat Jeff
he stopped being the leader here,
tu prestal viesť hnutie
and he left the movement
a
here.
opustil hnutie tu.
This is not the line of Elder Jeff.
Toto nie je línia staršieho Jeffa.
Just like this is not the line of John.
Takisto ako toto nie je línia Jána.
This is 34 AD.
Toto je rok 34.
John
Ján
is imprisoned here.
bol tu uväznený
He dies
a
here.
zomrel tu.
This is not the line of
To
John
nie je línia Jána.
that goes to 100 AD.
Táto línia ide až do roku 100.
If you want to make it the line of
Ak
John,
to chcete urobiť líniou Jána,
it's a completely different John.
to by bol úplne iný Ján.
The sister Tamina suggested
Sestra Tamina povedala,
that would be John the Revelator, not John the
to by bol
Baptist.
Ján zjavovateľ, nie Ján Krstiteľ.
So we look at these
My
lines
sa na tieto línie pozeráme
and we focus on
a
Christ
zameriavame sa na Krista,
because he's God. It's the natural response.
on je Boh, to je naša
He's God.
prirodzená reakcia.
But that's dangerous when we're trying to construct the whole reform line.
Ale je to nebezpečné, keď chceme konštruovať celú reformnú líniu.
This is the arrival of the first angel,
To je príchod prvého anjela,
which is
to
John.
je Ján.
So when does the second angel arrive?
Kedy príde druhý anjel?
Skipping that question,
Preskočíme túto otázku.
Brother Carl, what's this way?
Karol? Tento milník?
The cross?
Sorry?
The cross?
The cross? So what happens here?
Čo sa stane tu?
Remember our line of the 144,000.
Pamätajte na našu líniu 144 000.
What is it for the
Čo to je pre
144,000?
144 000?
You have 5 fingers.
Máme 5 prstov.
So, 34.
For the 144,000.
Pre 144 000 je to.
You want?
What's this way mark?
Čo je tento milník?
Sunday law.
Nedelný zákon.
And the Sunday law,
Pri nedelnom zákone
what changes
sa čo mení?
with the message?
Posolstvom.
For the Judah?
For the Gentiles.
Ide k pohanom.
So it ends for the church
Takže to skončí pre cirkev
and it begins for the world.
a začne to pre svet.
So if you go to the line of Christ,
Keď idete do línie Krista,
end of ancient Israel,
konca starovekého Izraela, čo je tento milník?
34.
34.
34.
Does that make sense? What's this one?
Čo to je?
Seventy.
70.
70. rok.
Why, sister? Elena?
Prečo? Elin?
Captivity? I'm not sure.
What happened in
Čo
70?
sa stalo v 70. roku?
Brother Jim,
Jim?
what happens in 70?
Čo sa stalo v
The
70.
temple
roku?
is destroyed.
The temple is
Romans.
destroyed.
Zničenie chrámu.
So Ellen White lined that up. Had gone to a quote.
My sme išli do citátu.
Review and Herald, November 5,
Review a Herald, 5. november
1889, paragraph 11.
1889.
And she lined this up with some other
11.
stories.
odstavec a dáva to do linie s nejakým ďalším príbehom
She lined it up with Noah
s Noachom,
and the flood.
potopou,
She lined it up with Lot
Lotom
and the destruction of Sodom.
a zničení Sodomy.
And she lined it up
A tiež to dá do linie
with the final history,
s poslednými dejinami,
the close of probation and the executive judgment.
so záverom milosti a výkonným súdom.
So in that quote,
V tom citáti
she lines all of these up.
dáva toto všetko do linie.
Final close of probation,
Posledný záver milosti,
destruction of Sodom,
zničenie Sodomy,
the flood with
potopou
70 AD and the destruction of
a so
Jerusalem.
zničením Jeruzalema v 70. roku.
And before each,
A pred každým
there was a cry
bolo volanie,
that said, "Come out of her, my people.
ktoré hovorilo, vidíte z neho moji ľudia,
Come out of Babylon.
vidíte z Babylona,
Come out of Sodom.
vidíte zo Sodomy,
Come out of the world.
vidíte zo sveta,
Come out of Jerusalem."
vidíte z Jeruzalema.
There's this cry.
Je tu toto volanie.
And then begins the executive
A potom
judgment.
začína výkonný súd.
So what is this way, Ma?
Čo je tento milník?
Patmos,
Patmos.
which is the second advent. What year? 100 AD.
Druhý príchod, to je rok 100.
So we have 4 of our 5.
Máme tu 4 z 5 milníkov.
Lost you. We are told that.
Nerozumiem, nie je tam, čo hovorí anglicky.
Is it coming from the pioneers or online?
I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
We'll find that for the next class.
Nájdem ti ten citát na ďalšiu hodinu.
Everyone's just said it so often. I think it's solid.
Má to pevný základ.
Sister Kathy?
Katy?
Do you...
I was just going to say it is across Christendom agreed to be 100. Come on.
So we have 4 of our 5 primary waymarks.
Máme 5 hlavných milníkov.
What's this one?
Čo je tento?
$27?
27. rok.
27. So that's 3 people saying 27, which is baptism.
Traja ľudia hovoria 27, čo je krst.
Why, Sister Tamina?
Prečo?
Because the message is getting confirmed. The
Tam,
divine being comes down. That's like old reform line talk.
tam je potvrdené
Or it's
posolstvo.
The other day we
prichádza.
read the quote where the
Poselství
3 dates are established and the baptism was one, which they would have known from the 70 weeks prophecy.
So they could have known the time of the baptism,
Mohli vedieť ten čas krstu kvôli tomu
or the
proroctvu z
prophecy of the
Daniela,
70 weeks.
začiatok 70. týždňa.
Sister Catherine, why did you say 27?
Katrin, prečo si povedala 27. rok?
That's when Jesus starts his ministry, and we line it up with 9/11.
Jesus starts his ministry. We lined it up with
Ježiš
9/11.
začal svoju
Does Jesus start his
služobnosť.
ministry here?
Začína tu svoju služobnosť?
So he doesn't begin.
Nezačal.
What do you call begin? What do you mean by start?
Čo ty myslíš, že začal svoju služobnosť?
He doesn't start like healing and verbal teaching until later. But he devotes all of his time to God from that point on.
So from this point on,
Ešte nezačal uzdravovať, ale už bol
what is
pomazaný.
his career before this?
Čo robil pred týmto?
A carpenter.
It's a carpenter.
Bol tesárom
So after this,
a potom to
you're saying he's devoted
už bol odovzdaný Bohu, zasvetený.
because you're saying he's left his old life behind and now he's on a
Zanechal svoj starý život a vydal sa na tú novú cestu.
So in that sense, he's begun.
Takže v tomto zmysle začal.
So we have to define what begun means.
Takže musíme definovať, čo znamená to začal.
Because he's been a carpenter
Pretože on bol tesárom
and now he's going to begin
a teraz začne
a different phase of his life.
inú fázu svojho života.
Sister Sue Ellen.
Suelen?
He's anointed to be a priest.
The baptism.
Uh-huh.
He's 30 years old.
Tu má 30 rokov.
We're going to come back to that
Tomu sa ešte vrátime.
and do the line of the 30 years.
A urobíme líniu tých 30 rokov.
But if we start heading into the story of a priest,
Ale keď začneme pozerať na
that
príbeh
becomes a different line.
kňazov, tak to je iná línia.
If we're going to go into the story of a priest, it becomes
Keď pôjdeme do príbehu kňazov, to
Brother
je iná
Jim.
línia. Jim,
Why did you say 27?
prečo si povedal rok 27?
Because that's when his baptism
To bol v krst,
happened, and then he went into the wilderness.
potom
And
išiel na
then-
púšť.
He began his ministry after that.
So this is when, could you say the first part again?
Môžeš ešte raz povedať tú prvú časť, prosím?
Baptism.
Baptism,
Krst,
Then he went into the wilderness.
potom išiel
then he goes
na
into the
púšť.
wilderness. This is the wilderness.
And then he begins his ministry.
Potom začal
He begins
svoju
his ministry
služobnosť.
down in this direction.
Yes.
Brother Jonathan.
Jonathan?
I'm thinking in this structure, Boston, Concord, Exeter. Is that correct? Or at least you have a
Yes,
test.
Rozum-
27 is the first time you can get tested about the message from John. Before that, it's not possible that you get tested.
So John has come.
Prišiel Ján,
Around here he starts preaching
tu začal kázať
and he says, I'm not Messiah,
a hovorí, ja nie som Mesiáš,
but there's someone coming.
ale prichádza niekto, kto
And then
je.
here-
A tu
You're saying there's a test on the message of John
hovoríme, že je skúška ohľadne posolstva Jána. Tá ty hovoríš.
because John's message
Jánové posolstvo
has been predicting the arrival of Christ.
predpoveda príchod Krista.
Does that make sense?
Dáva zmysel?
You're being tested
Sme skúšaní
on the message of John.
ohľadne posolstva Jána.
When we think of that model, Boston, Concord, Exeter test.
Keď rozmýšľame o tom modeli Boston, Concord, Exeter, skúška.
Sister Tamina.
Tamina?
Stop.
So it's interesting that when the second messenger comes,
Yeah.
he is the test for the message of the first messenger.
Yes.
Keď príde druhý posol,
but Christ has different roles.
je skúškou
There's a different role. I'm just talking
pre toho
test-wise.
prvého. Ale Kristus má viacero rolí. Áno.
Makes it, I think, really profound when we apply it to our reform line.
A lot of the things start to. When was this understanding first presented?
Kedy toto porozumenie bolo prvýkrát prezentované?
That said cross.
Ktoré povedalo,
Here,
kríž je tu,
34 AD Sunday law.
tu je
70.
nedeľný zákon.
Cross is a fractal.
Kríž je ako
When was that
fraktál.
first presented?
Kedy to bolo prvýkrát prezentované?
September last year.
Minulý
Early.
rok v septembri.
Why?
Prečo?
Because if you construct these reform lines
Ak ukážeme tieto reformné linie,
as they should be
tak ako by mali byť
in their primary
v tej
applications,
svojej prvotnej aplikácii,
it forces you to make some applications
prinúti nás to spraviť určité aplikácie.
that impact the role of Elder Jeff and FFA.
Ten dopad vlastne, ktorý to celé má na,
Impact the role of
na
Elder
rolu
Jeff.
FFA a brata Jeffa.
And make it really clear where the truth is.
A robí to veľmi jasné, že kde je pravda.
That's why these reform lines were opened up just in time for that shaking.
Preto tieto reformné linie boli otvorené presne v čase toho triebenia.
So yes.
Áno.
Also Mark. Yes, Brother Jonathan.
I have a question. I don't understand that. Why do you see those implications only when you remodel the line of Christ?
Prečo to vidíš iba,
To
keď
see the implications with FFA.
tieto implikácie z
you do
FFA
this in
len
the correct
vtedy, keď
way,
prerobíš tú líniu Krista.
This is the
Keď
arrival
to
of the
urobíš
second
správnym
angel.
spôsobom, toto je príchod druhého anjela.
The second angel arrives at 27 AD,
Druhý anjel prichádza v 27. roku
publicly recognized.
a je verejne rozpoznaný.
What Elder Jeff teaches,
To, čo učí brat Jeff,
because he no longer builds these reform
on
lines,
už viac nestavia tie reformné línie takto.
he doesn't use reform lines.
Nepoužíva reformné línie, tak by som povedala.
And what he teaches,
To, čo on učí,
if he still teaches the same consistent thing more than once,
ak stále ešte je konzistentný s tým, čo hovoril,
because he seems to change his story constantly.
lebo vyzerá, že on mení tie príbehy svoje,
But he did teach
ale učil,
that at Panium,
že pri Pániu
he's going to pass the mantle,
on dá ten svoj kabát
and at Panium, the second leader of the movement will stand up and take over.
a pri Pániu príde druhý vodca hnutia, povstane a prevezme vedenie.
So this is Panium.
To je Pánium tu.
Without proving it, I'm saying it's Pentecost.
Bez toho, aby som to dokazovala, poviem, že to sú letnice.
So when he constructs this line,
Keď on robí tú líniu,
he says the first leader ends here
on hovorí, že ten prvý vodca tu skončí
and the second leader begins.
a druhý tu začne.
The problem, this is the cross and this is October 22.
Problém je, že toto je kríž a 22. október.
So if he says this is the first leader and this is the beginning of the second,
Čiže ak on povie, že toto je ten prvý vodca a toto je ten druhý
and he places them here,
a umiestni to sen,
the problem is
problém je,
the history of the end of ancient Israel.
problém sú dejiny starovekého Izraela.
Before the cross,
Pred krížom
you've had the transfer
máme ten prechod
from John
od Jana
to Christ.
ku Kristovi.
And if this is October 22,
Ak toto je 22. október,
before October 22,
pred 22. oktobrom
you had the transfer from Miller to Snow.
máme prechod od Millera k Snowovi.
In fact, Moses,
Mojžiš,
when you construct his reform
keď
line,
spravíme jeho reformnú líniu,
he dies before this waymark.
on zomrel pred týmto milníkom.
John dies before this
Jan
waymark.
zomrel pred týmto milníkom.
Depending on your view of the beginning of modern Israel,
Závisia na našom pohľade na začiatok moderného Izraela.
Miller dies before this waymark.
Miller zomiera pred týmto milníkom.
So the leader isn't even alive here to pass the mantle at Panium.
A ten vodca ani není nažive, aby predával kabát pri Paniu.
So if you construct these reform lines accurately,
Ak správne skonštruujete tieto reformné linie,
you cannot believe Elder Jeff or Future for America.
Nemôžete veriť bratovi Jeffovi alebo Future for America.
Which is why I said no one that truly believed in reform lines would ever leave this movement.
Preto som povedala, že nikto, kto skutočne verí reformným liniám, neodíde z tohto hnutia.
Sister Tamina.
Tamina?
It reminded me also of the point we made beforehand when we asked ourselves, why is, what was it, 34? When we talked about the harvest and constructed Christ line, why the cross would not be at the close of probation. It's a similar thing. It will put everything way too much in the future. So you have like the falling away of Judas way in the future, just shortly before Daniel 12:1 and so on. And we know this can't be.
We have a permanent problem.
My máme problém.
It's been a problem we've had for 150 years.
Ten už máme 150 rokov.
Protestants have the same problem.
Protestanti majú ten istý problém.
They push everything into the future.
Všetko tlačíme do budúcnosti.
So when they push everything into the future,
Oni keď dávajú všetko do budúcnosti,
it makes now a peace and safety message.
tak to posolstvo je potom posolstvo o pokoji.
And when we construct our reform lines this way,
Keď robíme naše reformné linie takto,
we can't push the cross into the future.
Nemôžeme zatlačiť kríž do budúcnosti.
Or the leaving of Judas into the future.
Alebo to, že Judáš odíde v budúcnosti.
We can't push the passing of the mantle to the second leader into the future.
Nemôžeme dať do budúcnosti predanie toho prorockého
Because when
kabáta.
Elder Jeff wants to say that mantle is passed,
Lebo keď brat Jeff chce povedať, že ten kabát dá,
when you construct the whole line,
keď spravíme celú líniu,
John the Baptist is dead by Pentecost.
Jan Krstiteľ pri letniciach už je dávno mŕtvý.
Miller is dead.
Miller je mŕtvý.
Moses is dead.
Mojžiš je mŕtvý.
No, in application, it's not literal death.
V našej aplikácii to nie je doslovná smrť.
But you can't place the passing of the mantle here. It has to happen before the first test.
Ale nemôžeme sem dať to predanie kabátu. To sa musí stať pred prvou skúškou.
The first test.
In my mind, the disciples, we know that they're the priests. And so, you know, everything what happens with the disciples has to be in the line of the priests.
Musí byť
So
líniou
if we
kňazov.
prolong that till the close of probation or so on, we know that this is not the time period of the priests anymore.
A vieme, že tam
Everything
ďaleko už
happens in
nie
the time
je
period of the
záver
disciples.
milosti. Tam už kňazi nie sú.
So this isn't a reform line that I'm building here.
Toto, čo tu teraz ukazujem, to nie je reformná línia.
This is harvest 1,
Toto je žatva 1, žatva
harvest
2,
2,
žatva
harvest
3,
3,
žatva 4.
harvest 4. For us,
Pre nás,
for the
pre
priests,
kňazov,
harvest 1
žatva 1
is what time
je
period?
ktorý čas?
This is the priests,
To sú kňazi
19 to 21.
2019 až
Harvest 2 is the
2021.
Levites.
Žatva kňazov, levitov,
21 to Sunday law.
21 až nedelný zákon,
World,
svet,
Sunday law to close of probation,
nedelný zákon až záver milosti,
144,000.
144 000,
close of probation to second
záver
advent.
milosti až druhý príchod.
So this is not a reform line.
Toto nie je reformná
This is
línia.
the 4 successive harvests.
To sú 4 po sebe idúce žatvy.
Priests, Levites, Nethinims or world, 144,000.
Kňazi, leviti, netinejci, svet, alebo svet a 144
End of
000.
ancient Israel.
Koniec starovekého Izraela.
Harvest 1,
Najprv bola prvá žatva,
harvest 2,
druhá,
harvest 3.
tretia,
harvest 4.
štvrtá.
Who is this last harvest for?
Pre koho bola táto posledná
Sister
žatva?
Kathy. This is modern.
Yeah.
144,000. This is ancient.
Toto je 144 tisíc, teda moderný Izrael, staroveký Izrael.
The world.
This last harvest,
Táto posledná žatva
to the end of ancient Israel.
v starovekom Izraeli.
This is the time of trouble.
Toto je čas súženia.
What's this waymark?
Second.
Čo je tento milník?
That this is the end of ancient Israel.
Oh.
Patmos.
Mm-hmm.
So who's the 144,000?
Oh, John.
To je
John.
Patmos. Takže toto je pre Jána. Toto je Ján.
Who's this?
Kto je toto?
The world.
The world.
Svet.
You might call them the
My ich
Gentiles.
nazývame pohania.
Who's this?
Kto je toto?
Church.
Cirkev.
Church number 2.
Two. Mm-hmm.
Cirkev v druhom
Church
kroku.
Church 1. And who is this?
A cirkev v prvom
Disciples.
kroku. To boli učeníci.
So what's this waymark?
Čo je tento milník?
That begins harvest for the disciples.
Ktorá začína žatvu pre učeníkov.
$31. Oh, close of probation.
This is the harvest time period for the disciples.
Toto je žatva pre učeníkov.
Okay, so the one 34.
So you know this is 34.
34.
Vieme, že toto je 34. rok.
This is Sunday law.
To je nedeľný zákon.
This is the church.
Mm-hmm.
To je cirkev
Then it goes to the world.
a svet.
Church and world.
Cirkev a svet.
This is the world. This is the church.
To je svet.
This is the when they go to the second group.
Toto je, keď idú do tej druhej skupiny,
So this is Pentecost.
letnice.
What's this waymark?
A tento milník,
The cross.
The cross.
to je kríž.
In our time period,
V našom čase,
this is 2019.
to je 2019.
So 2019 is the cross.
Takže 2019 je kríž.
Is that okay?
Áno?
So this is the harvest for the first group.
Takže toto je žatva pre
When is
prvú
leadership
skupinu.
passed from the first to the second?
To vedenie je kedy predané od prvého k tomu druhému
For ancient Israel.
v starovekom Izraeli.
Before the cross.
Pred krížom.
Now the Jeff
Brat Jeff
wants to put it here.
to chce dať sem.
So we can see how these lines
Vidíme, ako tieto linie
defend the movement.
obraňujú to hnutie.
Because this
Toto
is October 22.
je 22. október.
And Miller
Miller
has already passed over his leadership
už dal svoje vedenie
before October 22.
pred 22. októbrom.
Over here,
Tu,
depending on your line, because you can do 2 in Millerite history.
závisiac na tej línii, pretože môžeme mať dve v dejinách Milleritov.
Miller has already rejected either both the first, second and third angel's messages.
Miller už odmietol druhého aj tretie anielské posolstvo.
Miller has rejected both the second and the third angel's
Odmietol aj druhé
messages.
aj tretie anielské posolstvo.
Or he has died,
Alebo
depending
zomrel.
on which of those 2 lines you build.
Na obidvoch tých
So you
líniách.
cannot put the
ktoré
passing of the
staviate.
mantle here,
Nemôžete
which
dávať
means leadership
predávanie
must have
kabátu
already
sem.
passed before the shut door.
To už muselo byť predané pred zavretím dverí.
Does that make sense, Brother John?
Dáva to zmysel, Jonatán?
So far, but I couldn't follow with everything.
Áno, ale všetko
I'm still
nestíham.
stuck in my head. why we need to rearrange, even though I see the structure with Sunday Law 34, clause of probation 70, I don't have a problem with that. But the question itself, why we need to change that line in order to see why FFA is wrong, I didn't understand from that perspective. But you can move on if you want to.
Perspektívu nechápem, ale kľudne
Okay, then we can talk about it.
No dobre, tak sa poďme o tom pobaviť.
If you put the cross here,
Keď dáš kríž sem,
Yeah.
how do you know how to behave?
ako vieš, ako sa máš chovať?
Who's Judas?
Kto je Judáš?
Who's right, who's wrong?
Kto je na správnej a nesprávnej strane?
Unless you know right where you are in a reform
Ak
line,
nebudeš vedieť, kde si na reformnej línii,
you don't know how to behave.
nevieš, ako sa chovať.
So the only safety is having that reform line constructed properly.
Jediné bezpečie je v tom, že tú reformnú líniu budeme mať skonštruovanú správne.
Okay, I understand that.
And if you construct it properly,
A keď ju správne skonštruuješ,
there's 4 harvests.
máme 4 žatvy.
Does that make sense? That there's
Dáva
4?
zmysel?
I understand that.
To rozumiem.
So you understand that that first
Tomu
harvest,
rozumieš? Takže rozumieš, že tá prvá žatva
for us it begins in 2019.
začína pre nás v 2019.
For them it was the cross.
Pre nich to bol kríž.
And you understood that before the cross,
To si rozumel, že pred
John
krížom
was the leader of a movement.
Ján bol vedúci hnutia,
He had disciples,
mal učeníkov
and then he passed the mantle
a potom dal svoje vedenie a svoj kabát prorocký
and the disciples to Christ.
aj učeníkov
Second angel.
Kristovi, druhému anielovi.
Okay, for me, I would mark this round about baptism.
Ja by som toto dal niekde
Yes.
pri krste.
I would too. So what you're saying,
Čo ty hovoríš?
So then I'm asking myself, okay, what has now this passing over the mantle to do with the harvest, which is in Christ's time around 3 years later?
A čo toto
John
predávanie
is elder
kabata, čo má spoločné so žatvou, ktorá je o 3 roky neskôr v čase
Elder Jeff's
učeníkov?
argument is
Pretože Ján je brat Jeff a jeho argument
that he
je,
has never stopped being the leader.
že on nikdy neprestal byť vedúcim. S týmto brat Jeff argumentuje.
And we're over here after the cross,
A tuto po kríži
and John is still the leader of the movement.
hovorí, že Ján je ešte stále vedúci
And we
hnutia.
should be following him,
A mali by sme nasledovať jeho.
because there's no second leader until Panium.
Do Pania už nie je druhý vodca.
Okay, I understand that, but this
rozumiem.
infers that the
Ale
changing
to
of the
potom
leadership
znamená, že zmena
happens
toho
at the cross,
vedenia sa deje pri
as you
kríži,
just said.
ako si teraz povedala.
Because we are after the cross,
My sme po
John is
kríži
still the leader.
a Jan
But
je
it's,
stále
how I understand this is John isn't the leader
ale
anymore
podľa mňa už
since
Jan nie je vedúci
27.
od roku 27.
That's my struggle at the moment in my head.
S tým ja
So
teraz
John-
bojujem. Jan
He's going to baptize Christ here,
tu pokrstí Krista,
but Christ doesn't begin public ministry.
ale Jan nezačne verejnú službu.
He goes into the wilderness.
Ide do
He comes out of the wilderness. He goes to Cana.
ide na púšť, potom
His
do
mother says,
do Kany ide.
do a miracle.
Matka mu povie,
And
urob
he says no.
zázrak a on povie nie.
My time hasn't
Ešte
come yet.
neprišiel môj čas.
He doesn't formally begin his ministry until
On
the first temple
nezačne
cleansing.
formálne tú svoju službu až do prvého čistenia chrámu.
So it might be only months for them,
Mohlo to byť len pár mesiacov,
but John is still the visible leader.
ale Ján ešte je stále viditeľný vodca,
From the baptism to when Christ cleanses the
až
temple. the
dokým
first
Kristus
time.
nevyčistil chrám.
We haven't yet done that fractal level,
My sme to neurobili ako fraktál,
but if we were to,
ale ak by sme to
I
spravili,
would suggest the following.
ja by som to povedala takto.
You have the arrival
Máme príchod
of the first angel at
prvého
the
anjela
baptism
pri krste,
in 27.
v 27.
You have the arrival of the second angel,
Máme príchod druhého anjela.
but he doesn't formally begin his work
ale formálne nezačne svoje dielo
until the first temple
až
cleansing,
do prvého čistenia chrámu.
which becomes the empowerment of the second
A to
angel.
je zmocnenie toho druhého
It's here that
anjela.
Christ is empowered to begin his ministry.
Tam Kristus bol zmocnený robiť službu.
And between the baptism
Medzi krstom
and the first temple
a tým
cleansing,
prvým čistením chrámu
John is still leading that movement,
Ján stále vedie to hnutie,
which is why when you come to Cana,
preto keď prídeme do Kány,
Jesus says,
Ježiš povie,
my time has not come.
môj čas ešte neprišiel,
He's not yet ready
Ešte
to
ne-
be open
ešte nie je pripravený
about who he is.
byť otvorený o tom, kým on je.
If we make application today
Ak dnes urobíme aplikáciu
on this fractal level,
na tej úrovni
we have
fraktálu,
1989,
máme 89,
9/11,
9.11,
2014.
2014.
And I'm saying
Ja hovorím,
Cana is 2012.
že Kána je
The
2012.
second angel
Druhý
already made himself publicly visible
kedy druhý anjel sa už zverejnil
in
v
2012
2012,
when he predicted time.
keď predpovedal čas.
Elder Parminder was visible in 2012,
Brat Parminder bol viditeľný v 2012
did the impossible,
a urobil to, čo je nemožné.
introduced time setting,
Priviedol
but he
určovanie
was not yet
času,
the leader of the movement.
ale ešte nebol vedúci hnutia.
Like Christ did something at Cana
Tak ako Kristus niečo urobil v Káne,
that he wasn't supposed to do.
to, čo nemal spraviť.
He worked a miracle
Urobil zázrak
before he was supposed to be recognized
predtým, ako mal byť rozpoznaný.
because he had not begun his public ministry yet.
Ešte nezačal svoju verejnú službu,
But he does something
ale urobil niečo,
to give people a reason for their faith.
aby dal ľuďom dôvod veriť.
And we'll look a little more at Cana.
Na Kánu sa ešte budeme pozerať.
Elder Parminder did the same.
Brat Parminder urobil to isté.
Doesn't take leadership till 2014.
Neprevzal vodcovstvo až do
But he's
2014.
already
Ale už
done something
niečo urobil.
in 2012 that makes him publicly visible,
V
known.
2012 sa robí viditeľný.
So I promised I wouldn't go far over time.
Takže slúbila som, že nepôjdem ďalej, ako máme čas.
So I agree that this is waymark is the baptism. It's the arrival of the second angel.
Ja súhlasím, že toto je príchod druhého anjela,
So we have our 5 key waymarks.
kde máme 5 hlavných milníkov.
4 BC,
4 pred Kristom,
27 AD,
27. rok
34, 70
34.
and 100.
až 70.
We've already begun to look at the fractals that we have these 4 harvests.
Začali sme sa už pozerať na fraktály, kde máme tieto 4 žatvy.
Priests, Levites, Nethinims,
Kňazi,
144,000.
leviti, netinejci, 144 000.
You had the disciples,
Máme učeníkov,
the Jews at Pentecost,
Židov pri
Gentiles,
letniciach, pohanov
and John the Revelator.
a Jana Zjavovateľa.
So we have 4 in their time period as
Takže
well.
máme 4 v ich čase.
So we already have a solid structure.
Už máme pevnú štruktúru.
And now we just have to fill it in. If you kneel with me, we'll close in prayer.
Pomodlíme sa.
Dear Father in heaven,
Drahý Pane,
thank you for these reform lines.
ďakujeme Ti za reformné linie.
We understand how they give us a reason for our faith.
Dávajú nám dôvod pre našu vieru.
I pray, Lord, that you'll continue to open up truth to your people.
Prosíme, aby si naďalej otváral pravdu svojmu ľudu.
We realize we are in a time period
Uvedomujeme si, že sme v čase,
that you have called the time of trouble.
ktorý Ty nazývaš čas súženia.
And we feel all around us
A my to cítime všade okolo nás.
that we are not in control,
Ale my to nemáme pod
not of
kontrolou.
external events,
Či sú to externé udalosti?
not of our own travel or plans,
Nie, ani naše vlastné cestovania a plány.
but we continue to do what's laid in front of us.
A my chceme ďalej robiť to, čo je pred nami.
We continue to trust
A dôverovať Ti.
that out of all of this,
Že z tohoto všetkého
you'll enable us to do our work.
nás uschopníš konať naše dielo.
pray this in Jesus' name.
Modlíme sa za to v mene Ježiša. Amen.